The mall remains in contemporary view and memory an isolated urban object, exclusive to the monotony of retail, sustaining itself in conscious collaboration with the real estate market, developers, and global brands. The mall enables the consumer to access a diverse range of choices under one roof. It incentivizes forgetting and influences the consumer to a space of seamlessness, where choices and capital are exchanged for goods and services almost superfluously without much consideration of the larger consequences of those choices. Malls are arguably part of the symptom of hyperconsumption, which disables the consumer from knowing more about the choices being made. The products that reach the shelves of the retail store have incomprehensibly large journeys that go through and impact hundreds and maybe thousands of lives, resources, states, and societies. If the consumer is conscious of the decisions she's making, she can have an impact and make a difference to that process. So what if malls, the hosts of retail, collaborate with brands in making information a comprehensive and specific performance of information that goes beyond selling and creates a temporal information architecture that the consumer could easily tap into?
At the same time, we also identify the business burdens of malls, especially at a time of austerity in the global north. Businesses are challenged to innovate, develop, and invent new ways of working with the market. We identified that some of the world's most interesting retail environments tend to be spaces of speculation, speed, managed chaos, and ambition risk. This innovation is driven by the fact that many of these establishments are so much more than just retail. We propose the hypothesis that, firstly, malls need to be more than just retail in order to build brands, compete, and survive. Secondly, that retail in its radical best when it's hybrid, complex, and social. Thirdly, that the mall becomes the destination by becoming more than just retail. And then we heard that in New York there is a store called the MoMA store, with a modern art museum attached to it.
And thereupon came this interesting idea of creating a temporal museum syntax and technology system exclusive to the mall, which we call the Museum of Retail Experience, MoRe. We propose an additional value layer in the mall inspired from the modern art museum model, where the mall is transformed to a space of an informational reality driven by the syntax of the museum. What does this mean? It means, as a user, the mall in its default proposition of hosting retail to sell you stuff will now also offer you the interface through which you get biographical information of brands and companies in front of the respective stores. The system will also be enabled by an application, which the user can choose to download to push further this information experience of the mall.
Thereby, by enabling anyone from the curious visitor to the avid shopper, an elevated mall experience, connecting the retail through a modern curation methodology and giving them information to make a meaningful sense of their time and at the mall. The project aims at inspiring new dimensions and perspectives on how retail can possibly be viewed and dealt with the contemporary.
The mall acquires a very particular design language that standardizes across all pathways in the building. The store becomes the curational zone of the brand and thereby the exhibits where the consumer can't buy stuff. In front of every store is a screen where the user can get objective information about the brand. Stores participate in seasonal exhibitions and sales playing along with a common theme where stores are also obliged to showcase specific objects from their retail collection and vocabulary. The application acts as the personal navigation assistant, helping the user find what he is looking for in the mall, and also optionally pings museum information as the user moves in the mall.